If you search for data engineer roadmap right now in the YouTube or anywhere, you will find like huge diagrams with maybe a lot of 40 tools or maybe a lot of tools and technologies. So even if you ask for an AI or ChatGPT or anything, it doesn't know what exactly it required. It will give like n number of tools to learn. So what I'm doing right now, I'll just give you a simple roadmap. So you just need to know where to start and where I'm going today. That's it. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the simple data engineer roadmap so that you can start right now without any confusion. So before that, one should know what exactly data engineer actually do. So see, every company today has data. You may take hospital has some patient records, maybe a food delivery app, it has many orders history, or insurance company which has like lot of claims and benefits data. So now imagine all of this data is coming from different places, maybe in different times and different formats. It's literally a lot of mess. So someone needs to collect all of this data. We need to clean it, organize it, and make it available so that business analytics managers or AI systems, ML models, or whatever, whoever should be able to use that. So the process of all this cleaning, organizing, and everything is done by the data engineer. So we are not actually analyzing the data. We are not building the ML models. So we are just building the road that the data travels. That's it. You just keep that in mind. This is the simple definition of what exactly the data engineer does. Okay, coming back to the roadmap, phase one is about building the foundation. This is the most important phase in the data engineer. So this is, I could say, this is like non-negotiable phase. So every single data engineer interview will test your SQL, not a basic SQL, the real SQL. So you need to know joins, maybe inner join, left join, right join, etc. And you also need to know window functions like row numbers, rank, lag, lead, etc. And also you also need to know group bys, having subqueries and CDs, etc., which are just a cleaner way to read the complex queries. You can also practice it on the websites, maybe on lead code, hackerrank, and there are like lot of websites where you can practice the SQL. So focus on the basic level to middle level SQL problems. There, when you can solve the medium levels problems freely and comfortably, then you can prove it as, or you can say it as, you are good at SQL and your SQL is ready. So that's about the first thing, SQL. It's very non-negotiable. And second comes the Python. So in Python, it's not like a data science Python or a machine learning Python. Simple Python. So simple here in the sense maybe reading an CSV file or any Excel file, maybe calling an API, basic Python functions or loops, or how to handle errors and how to write the functions, etc. These are the basic Python fundamentals which you require to become a data engineer. That's it. When it comes to resources to learn the data engineer, you don't need to find it anywhere. You can just take the python.org, the official documentation of the Python. That is one best resource. And the other resources, you can just go search the YouTube Python for beginners. You will get plenty of videos. Don't try to scroll through YouTube videos and to find the right one. Just take any one, because Python basics is the basics if you go through any video. If you want the simple Python basics for the data engineer, just let me know in the comment section. I will create a separate video on that. So yeah, this is about the phase one, just learning the SQL and Python. I strongly suggest not to move forward without learning these two, because these two are like core thing for the data engineer. And one more thing to point out here, if you are not comfortable with Python and if you are comfortable with Scala or other language, I will also suggest you guys to go through the Scala also, but as a priority, learn the Python first. So the second most important part is how data moves actually. So basically this is the phase two. Phase two is basically understanding how data actually moves in the real company. So first you need to understand the ETL. Basically ETL is like extract, transform, unload. So extract here means pulling the data from the somewhere. It may be an API, a database, a CSV or Excel file or whatever. Just pulling the data from somewhere. This is about the extract. When it comes to transform, transforming nothing but cleaning, reshaping, transforming the data, removing the bad values, null values, etc., etc., etc. So this comes the transformation part, and the last part is load. So load here is storing the data somewhere useful so that other guys, maybe business analytics or whoever, can use it easily. So usually in big companies or in real companies, they will load the data into the database or warehouse or a file or wherever they required. If you see, every pipeline you build in the data engineer career is just an ETL in some other forms. So I would strongly suggest you to understand this ETL concept very deeply, not just in basics. And the second important part is pick any one of the cloud platform. So basically there are three cloud platforms. One is GCP, Google ones, AWS, Amazon ones, and Microsoft Azure ones. So most of the companies I hear either be in three of them, and in out of these three of them also either GCP or AWS. These are the two things which most of the companies use. Especially in my career, I am especially using the GCP. There is no specific reason why GCP, but we are using the GCP. So when come to picking up one cloud, if you are targeting companies use GCP, learn GCP. If they use AWS, learn AWS. That's it. Don't spend more research on this part. So once you select the which cloud platform you need to go, first thing you need to learn is the object storage. So it's basically nothing but where exactly we need to store the data in the raw format, not in the transformed format, in the raw format. So on GCP it's basically called the Google Cloud Storage. On AWS it's S3 buckets. This is where basically our raw data sits. So second comes the data warehouse. Basically on GCP it's called BigQuery, on AWS it's called Redshift. So this is where the clean queryable data exactly stays or lives. So third comes the how a simple pipeline run on the cloud. So pipeline here basically means taking the raw data and transforming it and storing it in a good warehouse. This process we call it as pipeline, data flow pipeline. So third most thing is learning what exactly scheduling means. So in real life basically pipelines don't run manually. So they usually run automatically. It may be every hour, every day, or every week, or maybe every span of time. So the tools most companies use for this is Apache Airflow. You don't need to master it right now. Just understand the basic concepts. Pipeline is basically a set of tasks that runs on a schedule. So once you complete all these three things, phase 2 is done. Now you can understand how data moves in real company. So the third phase and the most important phase is like building something real, not just practicing. So most people, which I imagine, is they skip this part. So this is where you build a real project or a real pipeline or whatever you call it. So here's the project I want you to build basically. So first pick any free public API. It may be weather data, stock prices, cricket stores, anything. In internet there are in much many sources this way. Just pick any one and write a basic Python script that pulls the data from this API. That's the first step. And when it comes to second step, store this raw data into the cloud storage or wherever, whichever storage. If you don't want to go to cloud right now, just store it in your local system. But I would strongly suggest, if you want to go as a real data engineer, try to store it in the cloud storage. Okay, it may be AWS or GCS. So the third step is you need to clean the data, load it into a data warehouse like BigQuery or the Redshift. That is the third step. So fourth step is you just write maybe a 3 to 4 SQL queries on top of it that should answer the real questions. Maybe like for example, which day had the highest temperature in this month? Maybe which team scored most number of runs in this season, etc. And the fifth step, and I would say this is like important step. If you don't complete this step, no point of doing the remaining steps. So the step is put whole thing in the GitHub, write a clean readme file and explain what exactly it does. Then you post it in wherever places, like maybe on LinkedIn, write a detailed post and post it. Or maybe the other places, maybe create your own portfolio and post it there. So my song strategy, post whatever you write. Post here means put the work you did in the public, so that the recruiters will know what exactly you are working on, what exactly you built, so that recruiters will reach out to you. One strong reason why I am saying is, So if you create such one project, this one project literally beats many certifications in your resume, because in every interview they will ask something like tell me about something you built, not exactly what theoretically. And if you really build this project, you will have the answers for the questions which they ask on the project. So this is about phase 3. This is like a proof that you can do the job in the real company. So once you complete these 3 phases, now comes the interview preparation, and this is also, I could say, one of the most important phase, because interview cracking is the main and most important thing. Basically, data engineering needs these 4 tests. So one is SQL, the other is Python. The three are concepts like maybe on data warehouse, partitioning, ETL. They will usually ask, explain about all these concepts in simple terms, and how exactly we need use it, how where exactly we need to use it, etc. etc. questions. If you really go through the project and build it on yourself, you will have these answers ready with you. So the fourth step is project. So once you really build the project, you don't need to prepare this fourth step separately, because on the process of building the project itself, you will have all the answers for this. And one thing here I need to point out. So most of the data engineers don't prepare for the failure scenarios. So interviewers usually love to ask, maybe what happens if the pipeline fails halfway, like, or what if duplicate data comes in, or what if the API fails down. How would you handle this situation? So make sure you understand all these failure scenarios. How would you handle it in the real project, etc. etc. things. So be prepared on these kind of cases too. And now I will say you what exactly you need to ignore for now. See, you will see lot of tools in every roadmap, maybe Kafka, PySpark, Flink, DBT, etc. etc. My honest advice is ignore them for now, not forever, just for now. Okay, so just imagine in our first job there is very high chance that infrastructure is already built. You will be writing pipelines that fit into the existing systems. You will not be building Kafka clusters on the day one. So I would suggest you to learn all these tools and technologies once you have your first job, so you can see what exactly and why you exactly you need them. So just focus on the fundamentals and get hired, then go deep dive into these advanced tools, not on the day one itself. So just to summarize you guys, so basically the phase 1 you learn the SQL and the Python and just get comfortable with that. Don't rush on this phase, and then come to the phase 2 where you learn about the ETL concepts. Pick one cloud platform and learn basic scheduling. That's it. Just be good at these concepts. And phase 3 comes the real project. Build one real project end to end in detail. Take your own time, understand the concepts, and build one end to end project. Put it on GitHub with proper README and with detailed explanation, and make it public so that the recruiters will notice your work. Once this is done, then prepare for the interviews, especially SQL problems, conceptual questions, and questions which are present inside the project, like interview questions maybe on a project. For example, as I mentioned earlier, failure scenarios, and how would you handle these kind of cases, etc. etc. So yeah, you can just follow this roadmap. If you have any doubts in this roadmap, just let me know in the comment section. I'm happy to guide you in this roadmap and in the data engineering related learnings. And if you really like this video, please subscribe to my channel and support me. And if possible, I will create a simple pipeline, keeping the cloud part aside, and simple pipeline which extracts the data, does some transformation, and stores it into the maybe on some sample DB. I'll just create this kind of video and will come up with the next video. So please do subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you will get notified whenever I come up with a new video. Thank you guys.